Support WrestleTalk!
Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Reactive News with me, Randy and Tempest.
Yo, Jam that champion.
That's my name. I missed last week, so I've forgotten how to talk. I'm feeling much better. I know you're all worried, but do you know who's not feeling good? Solo Sikoa, because he's had to drop the North American Championship in a stupid segment. Over to you, Tempest.
So the angle that we had on this show was Shawn Michaels saying that because Solo Sikoa was not one of the options in last week's fan vote to determine a challenger for Carmelo Hayes, he was not allowed to be in that match, and thus, because it was unsanctioned, he had to be stripped of the championship. Never mind you, that he then defended that championship, which kind of to me would nullify that. If you're able to defend a title, that kind of then means that you've won it, and that maybe should be sanctioned, because what was this match with Madcap Moss on SmackDown? Regardless, Solo Sikoa had to relinquish the NXT North American Championship, and that title is now being held up in a ladder match at NXT Halloween Havoc, including Carmelo Hayes and a bunch of unnamed other participants. But this just makes absolutely zero sense to me, Randy Datson. We sat here, not you, mind you were sick. I've sat here on this table, meanwhile, with Sat and various other people and talked about what they could do with NXT, and more specifically, what they could do with NXT and North American Champion Solo Sikoa. And both of those cases were an increase in going from NXT to SmackDown to Raw, more continuity between the brands, and getting your stars over is not necessarily this is a developmental brand, but this is one whole WWE with some differences for sure. I have no idea why they've made this decision with a storyline that was working. Even if they wanted to get the title off of Solo Sikoa, say if this was all because he maybe can't do double duty and be in Florida to shoot NXT and be on the road with SmackDown. That's totally fair if that's the case. But if that's the case, there's a better way to get the title off of him than what they've done.
Well, because presumably they would have decided that he was being called up before he won the title.
Well, he did. He was at SummerSlam.
Exactly. So if you wanted to take the title off him, why would you do it in this way so soon after you've brought him up? You've given him the momentum of winning the North American Championship off Carmelo Hayes, who has held it for quite a while. It just feels like they've gone, here, have the title. Oh, wait, crap. We actually shouldn't have done that. We won't have you drop it because we need to push you as strong because you're part of the bloodline now. I guess you'll drop it because you weren't supposed to be in the match, because that works when... Like I was saying to you earlier, we've had times like Brock Lesnar being in the Money in the Bank match and winning that. You don't actually have to be in a match in WWE to win something.
Absolutely.
And like you say, he defended the belt on SmackDown, so clearly they've gone, all right, you're the champion, and here's a match for you to have. And now they've gone, I don't know, I don't want you to be the champion anymore. Here's Shawn Michaels to take it off you. And it all feels like not thought ahead, which is a shame, because I would say the last few weeks of WWE TV have felt like, oh wow, this has really been planned, this has been great. Like with the maybe the Fiend stuff or the Bray Wyatt stuff on Raw, like, wow, this is great creative minds here. And then they've gone, you weren't in the vote, so I guess bye.
Yeah, logistically, it doesn't make sense. Storyline-wise, like if you are looking at things from less than a kayfabe perspective, if you're looking at this as how do we write the show, doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense from the fact that the Sami Zayn Solo Sikoa interactions on SmackDown were the most interesting part of the show, and him being a champion adds so much to that presentation. We sat here and loved it on the SmackDown review this week and last week. Again, Sat and I sat here and talked about what they could do with Solo Sikoa, and we were like, oh, let's put a belt on him, and then you can have another singles champion in the bloodline that can constantly be defending the title, and you can have that singles energy, have him interact with Sami Zayn, and they started doing all of it, and it was great. It was awesome. It was exactly what we wanted, and now they've taken it away. And like you said, if you wanted to get the belt off of him, why not just put him in this ladder match that they're having and have him lose the title?
Yeah.
Because you don't have to beat him in a ladder match. That's what a ladder match is for.
And like one of the great things about the Bloodline is that they have got so many titles, and also that I think while I liked the Solo Sikoa debut at SummerSlam, I know lots of other people did. A lot of people I saw did not like this at all. The fact that he debuted in this way, but the fact that you've given him a belt and the fact that you're going, hey, look, you might not have liked that, but this is why you should get invested in this Solo Sikoa guy. He's going to defend this championship every week. And we're going, okay, I'm getting it now. I'm getting it. And then they've gone, no, he's not actually the champion anymore. You're like, oh, so I shouldn't be that invested in him then, I guess.
I don't understand any sort of reasoning behind this. Why you would do it, why you would do it in the first place, how you got to this point, how you're going forward, none of it makes sense to me. I want it to make sense, but even if the idea is to put the title back on Carmelo Hayes, which might not be the case, he lost on this show to Andre Chase, the comedy character.
Yeah.
This episode of NXT proves to me that maybe it wasn't the paint that was the problem.
No, but let's hope it's just a one-off bad decision, maybe, possibly. But we have got Halloween Havoc just around the corner, which I think a lot of people thought was going to be a takeover show because the sort of return of the Triple H era of NXT. It's black and gold again. But no, it's not going to be a takeover. I do still wonder whether the kind of takeover era will return under Triple H, but I guess maybe he wants to sort of plan a bit further ahead because let's face it, he's only been in the job like a month and a half, 2 months. So yeah, it's not a takeover. It has been announced as simply NXT Halloween Havoc,
where this ladder match for the North American title will take place.
Who knows? Maybe by the time the show comes around, NXT will have a new name. Obviously, we've had NXT in the past. We've had NXT 2.0, and then next year we're going to have NXT Europe. But the report is, and this is following a trademark application from WWE, they have trademarked or applied to trademark the phrase NXT Global.
Ooh.
And that was on the same day that they did NXT Europe. So I think a lot of people are wondering whether the NXT will simply become NXT Global.
If they do want to go ahead with this, and if that is Triple H's long-term vision, I could see NXT Global being sort of their umbrella term for all different versions of NXT.
Yeah, and someone who might be part of the NXT Global, who would have been part of NXT Europe had he stayed in the UK as part of NXT UK, which is RIP, no longer with us, is Ilya Dragunov, who is now on NXT America.
NXT Prime. Yeah, he came out and he kind of stepped on JD McDonough's moment, and it appears that maybe the match at Halloween Havoc will be a three-way between Braun Breaker, JD McDonough, and Ilya Draganov, or something of that nature. They will be involved with one another, and I'm sure that's going to be a good match. Ilya Dragunov is a fantastic wrestler, as we've seen on NXT, NXT UK, all of his matches beforehand. He's one of the better talents that they have, and of course he was injured and had to relinquish the NXT UK championship, so it's very good to see him back in the mix now.
I'm genuinely really quite interested to see how he's booked, because some people, I'm sure most people know, Ilya Dragunov is Russian. Therefore, 2 months ago, you'd think, oh, well, if he's being called up while Vince is in charge, this guy's going to be a Russian sort of, I don't know, he's going to wear fur hats and he'll turn up. And
he'll be Nikolai Volkov singing the
Exactly.
Russian national anthem before his match.
He'll turn up and like, I don't like you, you suck. And it's going to, especially with everything that's sort of going on in Russia at the moment, you can see Vince licking his lips going, yeah, foreign heel.
That'll get some heat.
You hate America, don't you? But under Triple H, I'm hoping that the character that they give him is the character that he's had basically throughout his independent and NXT UK career, which is just, I'm going to beat you up. And I'm really, he's so intense. And I hope that they don't take the cheap option, because he's great, like we say. He's had fantastic matches with Walter. And
he was Walter when that match happened.
He was Walter when that match happened. But it's an exciting time. I'm glad that they are bringing the kind of, let's say, bigger name talents over from NXT UK because they do deserve a bigger platform. Like, I know that a lot of people were fond of NXT UK, but unfortunately it just was not a platform that kind of you could make stars on. So hopefully the likes of him, Tyler Bate, JD McDonough will now get this chance to show why they were sort of seen so highly in NXT UK.
It adds so much to the NXT roster because, as Luke and I have sat on this desk before and said, that you don't have the same wealth of talent on the independent scene that are big stars that you can just sign up like you did in 2016, 2017, 2018 that NXT kind of built their name on. So if you can then circumvent that and grab those same kind of tiered talent like a Tyler Bate, like an Ilya Dragunov, and take them from an NXT UK that you already have them under contract and just bring them here, that helps to rehab the image of NXT so much, just because the immediate average of these matches is going to skyrocket with such talented guys.
It's just like how we took you from WrestleTalk Canada over to WrestleTalk UK. And what a success that's been!
R.I.P. WrestleTalk Canada.
That is all we have time for today on the WrestleTalk Reactive News. Please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to all the other WrestleTalk channels, head over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk for extra content. But for now, I've been Randy Andy Datson. This has been your Jam That Champion, Tempest, and that was stuff. Jam That Jam.
Oh, Canada, we stand...